Now, the first thing, we're going to go ahead, and we might not get through this whole thing because I definitely want to get to some force and motion today. We got to talk a little bit about force and motion. So we'll spend about 15, 20 minutes on this, and then we'll go ahead and take some notes on the next stuff, and we'll just go from there. All right, so today's topics are, so you got the water cycle, which we spend a lot of time on. You got breezes, and that's going to be global winds, sea breezes, and land breezes. Streams and fronts, so that's going to be the jet stream, the Gulf Stream, and your hot, cold, your warm, your cold, your stationary, and your occluded fronts, which, what kind of front do you think went by last night, Genesis Maturana Hernandez?
Wait, why is it
But
why is from the word it's like
tall and skinny?
what?
Because it's a lot of words, and I only had a little space to write it in. That's it. Hey, Genesis, since you raised your hand, why don't you tell us what kind of front went through last night? There was a bunch of rain and thunder and lightning, right? What kind of front was that, you think?
Like
Which
cold front?
It was a cold front. Excellent job. Cold fronts make bad weather. Warm fronts usually make a lot of rain. So last night, y'all probably got one of the stronger cold fronts that we've seen this year. And the reason that is because we're getting deeper into fall. Now, winter hasn't started yet. Winter does not start until December the 21st. And that's called the winter solstice. And not only is that the first day of winter, boys and girls, but that is also the shortest daylight we have of the year. So that's going to be the shortest daylight of the year. So if you got to do anything outside, December 21st is not the good day to do it. I think we have about 9 hours of daylight, which is not a whole lot, maybe 10. I'm not really sure. But June the 21st or 22nd is the summer solstice, which is in turn just like the opposite of the winter. That's when we have the longest daylight of the year, where the sun comes up at about 5 in the morning and does not go down until about 9 at night. So that's because we got so much sun, and we got direct sunlight because it's our summer. So we're going into winter. Last night was probably the strongest cold front we've had this winter. It's not going to be the only strong cold front we've had, but not today. But tomorrow is going to be markedly colder. Markedly colder. Today we're going to have a high of about 71 with really, really breezy conditions because the front's still making its way through. And then tomorrow it's going to be about 50 degrees, and then it's going to get down to freezing tomorrow night. So it's going to be chilly. So you might need your winter coat. All right. Next one we're going to do is going to be hurricanes, which they're going to be on the test. And the last but not least is Varios. I don't remember going over Varios, but we'll do the best we can with Varios. I'm just kidding. That's various. It's just a bunch of different questions. So let's go ahead and let's get started with big points. And listen, you guys can keep points at home, but I just want everybody to participate. I'm going to pick a few of you just to pick out the numbers you want, but all of us are participating in these questions. All right. Jalera, why don't you go ahead and pick one out for me, girl? You see it? You see all this stuff on the board? Can you see it? Okay, cool. Pick one for me, girl.
Water cycle?
Which for how much, girl?
20.
20 it is. All right, here's one of those questions that I am guaranteeing you will probably see on the test. What do we call water that is evaporated through plants? What do we call water that is evaporated through plants? And all of you guys should be writing this down on your whiteboard. Caleb, I'm not calling on you because you should be writing this down on your whiteboard, bud. You guys should not miss this. We've gone over it, and this is a really, really, really easy question to get correct if you know the answer. Okay? Real easy. Hey, if you missed it, Caleb, it's okay. Let's talk about it.
I already know it.
It is transpiration. Remember, we talked about this. I told you that when you perspire, you're going to start perspiring a lot because you're getting older. When you perspire, you are going through something called perspiration. You are sweating. When plants sweat, it's called transpiration. Okay, so that's a really easy way to remember. All right, real easy way to remember. So if you got that correct, that's probably going to be an answer on that test, because they love to ask that question. That's why I put it on here. Caleb Jones, I'm gonna get you to do the next one. What you think, bud?
Next one after water cycle, 25.
Water cycle for 25.
No, the next one. Like,
That one? This one?
the one under water. Yeah, that one.
Breezes. All right. What star causes the water cycle and all winds blow on Earth? What one star? And you should know this, golly, I went over this a million times. It basically is our life. You okay, man?
Yeah, we just can't see anything.
What do you need me to do?
I don't know. Here, it's this camera filming on that. It's just yours is super clear. Ours is.
That's the YouTube video.
Oh,
This is the one we're looking at.
ours is so blurry. See
Hello,
how? Look at your screen.
here, Mr. Allen.
Blurry.
See how when you look at that, there's like a bright light. That's how ours is. It's just this giant bright light that's really like it's tough to see. I don't know.
I can do about it. I might get
Just
changed.
that.
Sorry, Mr. Murphy's in here complaining.
Yeah, because he complained.
It's the sun. What other star is even close to us? Most stars are so far away. There's nothing we can do about it. All right, so good.
It's okay.
So those are two answers right there that'll probably be on this benchmark. Because remember, the sun runs the earth. The sun is in charge of everything, man. If we didn't have the sun, we would be dead. It wouldn't take us long to die. Maybe a few months. We'd probably be dead. All right. Let me see. Genesis Maturana Hernandez. You want to pick?
Mm, 20.
For which one? You want
The one that's fourth.
the fourth one? All right.
Hurricane.
Hurricanes. What type of pressures are all hurricanes in the northern and the southern hemisphere? What types of pressures? And if you really want to impress me, you could write the letter down and with the rotation of it. That would really impress me. There you go, Caleb.
Alright.
Gauge. I hope all of us know this one. Hold on now, girl. Don't get too crazy. It's not a high pressure either. It is a low pressure, children. It is a low pressure. You should not have missed that.
Okay, I'll just write this erase and 5.
All right. Haley in Miss Moore's class, which way do low pressure spin in the southern hemisphere? Remember, if they go counterclockwise in the northern, then in the southern hemisphere, they're going to go which way?
Clockwise.
You're exactly right. Remember, everything in the southern hemisphere is opposite as far as weather goes, not people. All right, we're all basically the same people. Except for they talk weird down there, right? Down in the land of down under. What's up, man? Hold on, man. I'm gonna get these guys online real quick. Alana, why don't you pick one for me, girl? You show up every single day.
The fifth one, 15.
All right, that's gonna be various for 15. So this is just some crazy. All right, here's your question. If it is spring in the northern hemisphere, so we're in spring, what season is it in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so if we're going into spring, then what are they going into the southern hemisphere? And remember, this is kind of a tricky one, but this is something I see all the time as well. If we're going into spring, they are going into what? What does that say?
Fall.
Okay.
I read it.
This is what you should have, fall or the word autumn. Now
I'm
listen.
wrong.
That's all right. Now that we're going into winter, what season are they going into?
Summer.
They're going into summer. So listen, they have Christmas in the middle of the summer. It's crazy, right? And then their winter is our summer. So they are really chilly down there in the southern hemisphere, and we're really hot. And now they're really hot, and we're getting cold because of the sun, the way the sun is tilting us. So let's go ahead and let's go to the next one. Noah, where are you, buddy? Noah, did you take a break? Noah, oh, nice. Santa Claus, you want to pick one, buddy? Go ahead and pick one for us, Noah.
I'll do Hurricanes 25.
Hurricanes for 25. All right, let's see. All right, name the 3 parts of a hurricane and what is the most dangerous part? Remember, there are 3 parts. Which is the one part? I want you to circle the one part that is the most destructive. Now listen, I know we've talked about how hurricanes, when they come to shore, the one thing that kills most people is water. It's called storm surge. This is not that question, okay? All 3 parts there, Mr. Jones. All 3 parts there, Mr. Jones. And then I want you to circle which one is the most destructive. What brings the worst weather? You better think about that one, buddy. You got the parts right, but which one is the most destructive? All right. These should be easy. You should have at least 2 parts. You should know at least 2 parts. These are the 3 parts. You have the eye wall, and then on the outside of the eye wall is the spiraling rain bands. Now, I have circled the most destructive part of the storm, the eye wall, which is surrounding the eye of the hurricane, the most peaceful part. Kind of strange, but if the eye of a hurricane ever goes over you, you are in for a long day, especially if it's a bad hurricane, because me and Mr. Murphy, maybe Miss Moore, we've been through some hurricanes. I've been through quite a few, so they are nothing to mess with, that's for sure. All right, good enough. Victoria in Miss Moore's class, pick one of these for me, girl.
Even like the water cycle for 10, please.
Uh-oh, high roller. Oh, this one's easy. What are the 2 ways in which water is evaporated? I asked this question the last time, but you need to know it. What are the 2 ways? And listen, one of them makes the other way, all right? All right, good, man. Let's go, Maylene. Joey Collier, do you know this boy? I hope so. Nobody should miss this. You should at least get one of them. The sun and the wind, okay? Remember, this guy right here, it makes the wind. We would not have wind without the sun. There's no way. There's no possible way. All right? I'm going to do one more question, all right? And I'm going to let, hold on, Gage, man. Blake in Mr. Murphy's class, why don't you pick one, and then we're going to start talking about something a little different. Blake.
You said hurricanes for 15.
Hurricanes for 15. Ooh, uh-oh. What kills more people during a hurricane than anything else? What kills more? And I just gave you the answer like the dummy I was. No, it's not the eye wall there, Pumpkin.
Bruh.
Genesis is not the eye wall.
Can Blake answer?
No, I was just gonna write it down on a whiteboard, man.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Good job, Alana.
Answer?
So look, there's a lot of different ways you could look at this. I put water, rain, and storm surge. Okay, now listen. Storm surge is when a hurricane comes to shore, like we talked about, and it brings water with it, and it can like tear down houses on the beachfront. But our hurricanes, they bring a little bit of storm surge. This is what generally kills most people in our state when a hurricane comes, is the amount of rainfall that falls, because for some reason people don't understand that you shouldn't drive through water. You shouldn't drive through fast moving water, because your car will be picked up by that fast moving water and it will more than likely drown you. And that's where people generally die, is these creeks and these rivers get overflowed, and they're like, oh, you know, you can make it across the bridge, and then all of a sudden their car gets swept away and you never hear from them again, and they find their car weeks later. It's just a mess. You know, so when all this rain falls, it's kind of like pouring a bunch of water into a funnel, and it just comes out of the side. It just gets too much rain, and we can't, the land can't handle it, and everything floods, and some people can't swim, and that's how people die, you know? So I tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shift gears, and we'll do the rest of this tomorrow. And we're probably gonna be reviewing weather for about 10-15 minutes every day anyway, because we gotta get better at it. Yes, is there a question?
No.
Okay, so what we're gonna switch gears a little bit. Hold on one second. I gotta get out of here. All right. All right. Here we are back with force and motion, okay? Now, we've talked about the 3 laws of motion, okay? Obviously, the first one is inertia. All objects like to keep on doing what they're already doing on Earth. If something's already standing still, it likes to stay still. If something's moving, it wants to keep moving, but unfortunately for that object that wants to keep moving, there are forces that are not allowing that to happen, okay? So, what two forces try to stop motion on objects? What two forces? Okay, we've talked about them a lot. What 2 of them are there that try to slow motion and generally do? You should not have missed that. Friction and gravity. Remember, friction heats things up and slows things down, and gravity is the force that pulls you down. Without gravity, you wouldn't be able to lay in bed at night. That's kind of sad, huh? It'd be a horrible time. Couldn't lay in bed and watch TikTok videos all day or whatever it is y'all do. So what we're gonna do is we talk about acceleration, all right? And acceleration is just a buildup of speed over time. All objects on Earth have to accelerate, okay? Or an object has to accelerate for them to go, like a golf shot. I mean, how many of you guys have ever played golf before? Raise your hand. Well, yeah, the golf ball's not moving. The golf ball is standing still, thank goodness. I mean, golf's hard enough as it is. The golf ball is standing still, and what's doing the accelerating? The club. The club is the one accelerating. The ball is just not gonna fly off the tee because it wants to fly off the tee. That doesn't happen on Earth. Maybe in space. Maybe in space. I'm not really sure.
Oh yeah. Someone played golf on it.
It could, definitely. All right. Hold on one second. These are examples of friction. All right. Now, what we're going to start talking about today is 3 words. All right. And I'm going to probably have to write them down because it seems like we're getting some kind of blur that is not good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and write these down. Now, these words are gonna probably come into a huge play when we start talking more into force and motion. These words are going to be matter, okay, mass, and weight. Y'all see those at home? Matter, mass, and weight. All right, so we're going to talk about these words today. Now, if you're at home, get you a sheet of notebook paper, and you guys can write this stuff down. Y'all can start taking notes at home. I started thinking about this over break. I'm like, why don't I just get them to write the words down? They can do exactly what we... Well, that's fine. Well, you don't have any notebook paper at home?
I can use normal paper.
Normal paper, whatever kind of paper you got. We can write this stuff down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write some notes down, and we're gonna start talking about these words because you've got to know them, okay? Now, the first one we're gonna talk about is one that's super simple in my opinion, all right? Mr. Murphy, Miss Moore, you can hand out those sheets of paper. What do you need, Gage? Yeah.
Hey, the pass out is round.
Cool. All right, so this is all I need you guys to do to write down at home. Look, it's not even a math problem. This is all you got to write down at home. Matter, mass, and weight at the top of the page. That's all you got to do. And we're going to take a few notes on this because I got to get this stuff done because we got a lot to do in force and motion too. And man, time's a wasting. All right, so matter, mass, and weight.
It looks blurry. Matter, mass, and...
Matter,
I'll type it in the chat.
mass.
But I take this down.
What's that?
Right.
I said I'd be happy to type it in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be great.
Okay.
All right, now I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna go to my whiteboard thingy. Yes.
Small. Bandwidth is low.
What'd you say?
Yeah, it's really small.
I said your screen is entertainingly small because your bandwidth is low.
Who made
Very
my
strange.
bandwidth low?
I don't have a clue, man, but it just went like small screen, and that's what it says.
Is that what? Does everybody else see that? Did my screen go really small? Dude, this is
It's
the
probably a fourth of the size.
this is the overhead. This is overhead,
Yeah,
Murphy.
It's about a fourth of
It's what?
it's only about a fourth of the screen.
Man, I have no idea why that happened.
That's your fault. I'm sure it's our technology.
Yeah, I don't. Oh my God, look at
That's
this.
better.
Oh, there we go. Hey,
Yeah, that's better.
What did I didn't do anything but move my mouse.
got the coat hanger. Just moved it around
Yep.
a little bit.
Okay, so the first word we're going to take notes on today is matter. Okay, in Genesis, what's the matter? It's hilarious, right? Okay, we're not talking about that kind of matter though. Okay, we don't talk about, hey, what's the matter with you? Well, listen, you know, the gas in this room is really bothering me. That's what's the matter. So matter can be broken up into 4 parts. Now, when I was a little boy, which was a long, long time ago before you guys and probably I'm sure your parents were even thought about being born, it was a long time ago. There were only 3 that we talked about. Okay, and you guys know these, and I know you know them. The 3 forms of matter that I learned was a solid, a liquid, and a gas. Okay, everything on Earth was considered either a solid, a liquid, or a gas. You can't go anywhere within our atmosphere in the troposphere and find any empty space. All the space is taken up by something that's either a solid, either a liquid, or it's a gas. Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, they throw into a 4th one, and this one is called plasma. Now, I don't know why they did that. I've never seen it on a test, but I'm gonna go ahead and make sure you learn it because it is a part of matter. This plasma is a weird one. You guys are probably too young to remember, but when Murphy and I were a lot younger, and maybe Miss Moore might have been under 10 years old, they had TVs called plasma TVs. And you guys might have remembered they were flat screen. They were the first TVs that came out. And these plasma TVs actually contain some plasma in them. All right, they put plasma in these TVs. Unfortunately, the TVs were extremely, extremely expensive. And not only were they expensive, they ran into a lot of problems. They would get super duper hot. Like if you left them on for a long time, the screen of the TV would get really, really hot. They were also extremely delicate. So you go out and you spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a TV and you let it run all night, and all of a sudden your screen's messed up because it got too hot. Also, there's not a lot of plasma to go around, so they stopped doing this plasma TV and they just went straight flat screen. Well, listen, there's a few kinds of plasma on Earth, okay? There's plasma in your blood, which we're gonna talk about when we get to your human body. And we start talking about the human body is plasma is something that's in your blood. You've got to have plasma in your blood, okay? And I mean, when you go to college, me and Mr. Murphy, I don't know about Mr. Murphy, but there were people that donated their plasma. It's kind of like donating your blood. You know, you can go to a place, donate your blood, and they don't give you any money to donate your blood, but if you go and you donate your plasma, they'll give you like $50. Unfortunately, you have to sit there for about 4 hours. So it's not an easy time, but usually most of my friends that went and did it, they studied the whole time, and they studied all their stuff that they were going on in class, and it was a good study session for them. But that's not the plasma that's found on Earth they're talking about. The plasma they're talking about is found in lightning, like from storms, from lightning storms. And there is a good deal of plasma in space. Yes, Gage?
My question is, so I was reading this book about plasma. My sister got it. And it said that you can focus a plasma into a laser beam.
You probably can, man. I don't know much about it.
Alright.
Gage just asked me a question about plasma, and I have no idea what the answer is because, like I told you, like 3 years ago, they popped this on us that, hey, you know, plasma is a form of matter. So let's take those notes, all right? Matter.
Mr. Ron,
Yes?
could you speak slower? Like, could you slower than
I'm going to write really slow, man.
Do any of you guys have a plasma ball?
Okay, I don't have a plasma ball, but that's a good example.
I have one.
All right, so here we are at matter. So what I want you to write down, this is going to be really quick. Made up of everything around you. Okay? So there is nowhere you can go where you're not going to have some form of matter right near you. Like I told you, there is no empty space on Earth. None. You know, I guess there might be some small little rooms where they don't have any gas or solid or liquid, but I'm not sure of those rooms, and I don't even know if they exist. They might. And there's some people that do crazy things out there and maybe want to make a matterless room. I don't know why you'd want to do that. But everywhere you go on Earth, now listen, this is not true in space. Once you leave the atmosphere of the Earth, this is not going to be true, because when you get into space, there's not matter everywhere. And one of the main things that is not up there is air, gas. There are solids. I would assume there are probably liquids. I'm not really 100% sure on that, but there's definitely no air. So that's going to be one form of matter that's not up there. But remember, there's a lot of plasma. So I guess they take one for the other. All right, so made up of everything around you. So let's write down which ones, what we got to know. So basically, it's any solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. Okay? Any solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. All right, and one last thing we're going to write down. Hold on. Matter takes up space. Matter takes up space. Okay? That's why I keep telling you, there are no empty spots on Earth. There's nowhere you can go and not find matter, unless you want to leave the atmosphere. And then there's lots of empty space up in space. That's right. Now the next two, mass and weight, we're gonna go over more tomorrow, but I'm gonna talk to you about it today because I've got a Google form that you're gonna have to look at and answer questions on. All right, now I'm gonna give you these last two words. Now listen, as soon as I get these written down, I'll give you another minute.
What's your time, Mr. Allen? It's almost nap time.
I know, I got you. That's why I'm finishing up. Okay. Now y'all listen up, because in order to do the Google form today, y'all are gonna have to know these two words. Okay? Y'all are gonna have to know these two words. I'm gonna talk about two words real quickly. And these two words right here are extremely confusing, and it takes us a couple of to 3 or 4 days to understand them, but I'm gonna just give you a little bit of just a small little inkling of what they are. This word mass, and you have weight. Well, a lot of people think these are the same things. Okay, so mass is how much matter is in you. Okay? How much matter is in you. So how much stuff is inside of you? So if you were to look at me and Mr. Murphy, I'm way more massive than Mr. Murphy. I'm almost 2 of Mr. Murphy.
Are we
Okay.
gonna write it down?
No, you don't have to write this down. I just want you to listen, girl, because these are on this is on the Google form. So mass is how much matter is in you. Okay? Now, weight is going to be this. The gravitational pull on your mass. Okay? Now I know that you guys are like, what are you talking about, Mr. Allen? Well, listen, and I'm going to end on this because I know Miss Moore's got to do math. Your weight is your weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds. I mean, that'd be a big 5th grader, right? So let's say I weigh 200 pounds. Well, I weigh 200 pounds on Earth. But if I went somewhere like the moon, this would turn into a huge problem. Because if I went to the moon, I would look the exact same. My mass would be the exact same. I would still have all this matter packed into me. But this is what would change. My weight. My weight would change because guess what is wrong with the moon compared to the Earth? It's much, much, much smaller. So if I went to the moon, even though I'd look the exact same, the gravitational pull on the moon is a lot less, so I'm gonna weigh a lot less. In fact, if I went to the moon and I weighed 200 pounds, I would weigh about 50 pounds if I got on the moon, but I would look the exact same. So if you wanna lose some weight, just go to the moon or Jupiter. Well, if you wanna go to Jupiter, you're gonna gain about 4 times as much weight.
Yeah.
You could also go to Pluto. Pluto would make you lose some weight, but guess what? You'd still look the exact same. Now, this is a really confusing thing for us to learn because mass and weight go together on Earth. It's just when you leave the atmosphere, they change. And they're going to try to trip you up on that because they're really good at it. They love tripping people up. But look, boys and girls, I'm going to put a Google form out there. I hope y'all have a good day. I'm going to try to give Miss Moore some time with math. So if you got any questions, you can send me an email or something, all right? Y'all have a good day. All right, guys.